I'm going to share the 5 types of AI agents you can use to build $1 million business without hiring more employees. And no, I'm not talking about ChatGPT, Sythesia, or Midjourney. These agents are what I'm using right now in dozens of my companies to be more productive and stay ahead of the competition. Before we get into it, what is an AI agent and how is it different than just ChatGPT? So here are the 3 levels of AI knowledge. Level 1 is AI chat. 2 is AI workflows, and that's about process, taking people in multiple steps and automating the whole process. Tools like Make, Zapier, Gumloop, N8N. These are the platforms that take AI and make it useful to get work done for you, which brings us to level 3, AI agents, and it's all about outcomes. Now we're talking. This is where I spend most of my time, and it's about having context of the person asking a question and making a decision based on that context. And it can act as you in your inbox, in your calendar, and do all these tasks for you without you being involved. But with so many options, what do you build first? Which brings us to the 5 types of AI agents your business needs to grow, starting with the closer agent. What's crazy is one of my companies is on the verge of replacing their whole sales team using AI. Everything they used to do, from generating leads to qualifying leads to scheduling calls, all done using AI. That's why I love to start with an agent that will add revenue fast, because profit solves all problems. If I can increase my income using AI, then I can reinvest in other areas of my business to grow. So what do you get your closer AI to focus on? Number 1 is lead intelligence. Think about all the research, all the scraping, all the qualifying, all the data enrichment. All of that is lead intelligence and not something a human has to do anymore. The second is closing support. Think about doing research on a prospect, pulling previous chats, previous conversations, transcribing any conversations that have been had to summarize them to provide you context for the salesperson to have the call. Closing support is a big piece of work that doesn't add a lot of value that AI is perfect for. And the third is qualifying bot. This is my favorite. Using a bot that can take some kind of request or inquiry, or somebody calls your business, and qualify them using voice AI. This is the future that's here today. I actually seen one company called Breezy.app that does it for all the plumbers, the HVACs. Essentially, any call that comes in that doesn't get answered gets picked up by the AI. Ask the question to the customer, what are you looking for? Is it an emergency? Do you need somebody to show up today? Are you cool spending $500 or $1,500 for that call? And all of a sudden, the plumber who couldn't take the call is now coming back to their truck and seeing a customer call that's booked and managed by an AI bot in their calendar. If you do not have AI involved in your sales process, you're just not making as much money as you can be. So once you get your sales flowing, next you got to work on increasing your capacity, which brings us to number 2, the assistant agent. For years, I've been telling everybody, you have to hire an executive assistant. You're working on $10 tasks. You can't build $1 million business because you're getting bogged down in the admin work. Now, it's an executive assistant plus AI. There is no world where your assistant is not using artificial intelligence to augment their work. It's almost as dumb as you going back to being your own executive assistant. Because here's the deal. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. And the worst part is you're overpaid and you probably suck at your job. So pairing that with a person and AI is a game changer. But to do it right, you need to understand the type of work that you can give to an AI. So for me, number 1, I always start with the email sorting. Think about all those messages, all those opportunities, all those project updates. That is just information that needs to be summarized, responded to. You can literally automate the whole thing, where if it looks like a financial email, it gets put over in the financial tag. Pulling documents, accounts payable, the whole inbox is nothing more than a hopper of things that have to get processed, and AI can do that better than a human. And guess what? They don't go on vacation, they don't get sick, and they don't make mistakes. Number 2 is the calendar. If you think of all the scheduling, the back and forth, somebody cancels, what do I reschedule that with? Your calendar's efficiency tells me how much money you're gonna make. If you can have AI support, research, scheduling, notes, anything that has to do with the calendar, you will prioritize and batch your revenue making activities to generate the most money in your business. And the third is bookings. Think about research for travel, flights, hotels, dinners. We're living in a world where somebody involved in that process makes no sense. You can set up AI to just take a request and automatically schedule this stuff so that your assistant can spend more time on things that are EQ or emotionally driven. relationship building, understanding context, making calls, trying to get things pushed forward that otherwise would just have to sit in somebody else's hopper. That is what your executive assistant should be doing, not spending an hour trying to reschedule a flight that an AI can do for them. Now that we've taken care of that, your next bottleneck is delivering your product or service, which brings us to AI agent number 3, the workflow agent. So the other day I was talking to a friend and he was pissed off because a key team member left. And when he checked his standard operating procedures, his playbooks, he found out they were all out of date. They were stale. He hadn't updated them in 6 months. Now the issue is he didn't build the system so that kept it up to date. And he didn't ask to review it or monitor it. But the truth is in today's world, he shouldn't be doing that anymore. You know, Michael Gerber, who wrote an incredible book called The E-Myth, he has this quote that says, let the systems run the business and the people run the systems. But what if your systems could run themselves? So here's what your workflow agent should work on. Number 1 is System Creator Bot. This is all about capturing videos of you doing the work that generates and writes the standard operating procedures, and more importantly, creates the checklist to make sure it's always getting done. Now, there's a tool called trainual.com that does this all for you automagically and incorporates AI to make it easy for you. The second is the Office Manager Bot. We use this every day to make sure that things like purchasing, scheduling, we have Dan the barber, who's our buddy that comes in and he cuts everybody's hair, and the Office Manager manages the whole schedule. So nobody has to be involved. The schedule is always up to date and everybody can talk to it. Understanding what the policies are for vacation or how to submit expenses, all taken care of by the Office Manager Bot. And the third is a customer support bot. If you do any kind of support calls, any kind of support email, you've actually built the information it needs to do a world-class job. And the fact that you have a human typing a response to a customer support inquiry is silly. That's got to stop today. I want my customer support to find opportunities to upsell my customers. I want my customer support to find places where they can wow them. I don't want them sitting there writing a draft email that the bot can write 10 times faster. So now that you've got the systems in place, your next move is getting eyeballs, which brings us to AI agent for the amplifier agent. So there's this really awesome podcast called Arnold's Pump Club. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger's podcast around his life, and he teaches his philosophies, and it's awesome. And he's got hundreds of episodes, and it links to this app, and it's this beautiful little money-making thing. Did you know Arnold's never done an episode of that podcast? Go listen to it. It is an AI voice-generated Arnold's Pump Club. That is the level we've gotten to. I can tell you there are millions of people listening to that podcast every day and has no idea that Arnold has never done one of those episodes. And guess what? The AI bot never gets writer's block. The AI bot never lost for information. And it knows more about what its audience is resonating with based on the comments and the feedbacks and the clicks in the email to just propel that forward. That's why the amplifier bot is such a powerful area to focus on. So how do you teach it? Well, first off, you want to use it for content analysis. You want to look at what you're doing and what's not working and what's working, and then ask it to look at both of those and say, here's the difference. I can give it 5 emails that crushed in regards to click-through rates and opens, and I can give a bunch that didn't do that well, and it will tell me where my opportunities are to write a better email next time. The second is the content checker, and this is all about focusing on your brand's voice and tone. If you've created everything so far, good. That means you have a library of information that the AI can literally analyze, and then as new people write stuff for you or create outlines or whatever you're doing, it can check the content against that tone to say it doesn't fit. I have this for myself, and allows my writing team to support me in my creative projects without me being involved. It's way faster and more productive. Number 3 is content creation. And this is when you think of like the video to the reel, to the newsletter, to the tweets. At the end of the day, with AI, I can have it support the outline of the video and then take the transcript and support the editing of the reels and then create the newsletter to promote the video, then extract some insights, some aphorisms that become my tweets, all based on stuff I've created, but it's supported by telling me what my audience is going to resonate with. The amplifier agent will change the game for how your business does marketing. But if you really want to build $1 million business, you need a clear picture of growth, which brings us to the 5th agent, the money agent. When I started my first company, I kept hearing this cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. My dad told me, my business friends told me, and I ignored them. I was like, cash flow, smash flow. 2 months later, I couldn't make payroll. Why? I didn't understand how it worked. I didn't understand it takes money to make money. I didn't understand that if I have a fast growing business, it is the sound of cash leaving my business. Now things are completely different. It's not about counting your pennies, it's about spotting the patterns that turn your pennies into millions. My money agent does things that I used to do manually that saves me so much time. The first one is cash flow bot, monitoring and forecasting, understanding where my money's going and forecasting what the business trends are looking like based on the historicals, how much cash is it collecting, how much money is owed, and then doing cash flow analysis in real time changes my ability to make decisions in my business to make it faster without worrying that I'm going to cause myself a cash crunch. Number 2 is a payment bot. For a while ago, I hired 2 finance people, joined my team, and I told them from day one, you are AI first, you just happen to do finance. The first automation they built, an accounts payable bot. It was so simple, an email, Slack message, or you drop a PDF into Slack, it automatically scans a PDF, checks for a PO, checks for all the details, enters it in for approval, and then the whole workflow kicks off. So simple, yet something that used to be manually done by somebody that wasn't as efficient as AI. Number 3 is the fraud bot. I don't know about you, but every time I go to look at my bank accounts, I wonder, is somebody stealing money from me? With the tools that exist today, you can plug in these AI bots to monitor for fraud. Syth is a plugin on top of your Xero account that does anomaly detection. So you want to use these apps to be able to look for fraud so that you don't have to worry, is somebody doing something weird? Did some employee lose their credit card, or is somebody approving wires and payments that you didn't approve? It literally looks for things that are out of the norm and brings them to your attention. The money agent is so powerful because it will be a set it and forget it. Now, I understand when I talk about AI, people are always worried, well, what is that going to mean for my job? What's it going to mean for my business? What's it going to mean for my employees? What about my family? We've been here before. If you actually look at what we used to do as a family unit, as a community, when we had more time, the moms stayed home and took care of the kids. The families took care of the other families. We used to support each other. If somebody was sick, the whole community would take care of them. I believe I have an optimistic view on the future, which is when we get our time back, we'll have more time to actually be humans, build businesses in a way that we enjoy doing, that we don't feel forced to do, working with customers we don't like or people we don't enjoy. In many ways, I like to think about business like an artist. If an artist had to build a business, create music, how would that look? How would it feel? And AI is really just unlocking that time so you don't have to do things that are mundane and repetitive so that you can actually do what you love. So if you want to learn the 7 things I quit to go from broke to millionaire, click here and I'll see you on the other side.